What's going on, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to Man Football. Today we are covering the AFC West. We got to start with the Chiefs, man. So, Dylan,
Yeah, man. Before we jump into this Chiefs, dude, take a moment of silence for the rest of the AFC, dude.
I
The
can't do it.
Chiefs,
I
man.
can't do it.
Hey, you can't do it with a straight face. It's all good. I think the point stands, though. Okay, the Chiefs are for real. Let's talk about for a second, man. Their front office, their coaching staff, their talent on the field. When you sit and you look at the elite of the elite, I mean, the only other team in the AFC that I can think of is probably the Ravens. Who are getting it done at all three phases right now. This team, man, you look at what they've done this offseason as far as, signing up Mahomes, Chris Jones, Travis Kelsey. The only player they lost was one of their starting corners in Kendall Fuller. They're doing a great job, retaining talent after winning a Super Bowl, right? I mean, that's rare to see in its own. I want to talk about Patrick Mahomes' contract for a second. One of the things that I was worried about for Chiefs fans was that once Patrick Mahomes, this worry was before he signed his new contract. What I was worried about is that once he got a new contract, that it would close the Chiefs' window of being dominant. But I think what you have here, and just an amazing job by the front office and their plan here, is you have a contract that yes is 45 million a year, but the kicker is it's 10 years. Okay, so we have what we have right now is we have Mahomes on signed up for the next 11 seasons. Why that's important, why the 10 years is so important to me, is because over the next 11 years, it's not going to take very long for the quarterback market and how much the next quarterback gets paid and the next quarterback gets paid to eventually catch up to Patrick Mahomes' 45 million a year. I don't know who it'll be. I don't know if it'll be Russell Wilson, Carson Wentz, Kirk Cousins. I don't know which quarterback it'll be. Everyone that gets signed next, they keep making more, keep making more, keep making more. Eventually one of them is going to get up to 45 and over 45 million. I would think it would take, 2 to 3, maybe 4 years for that to happen. In the second that Patrick Mahomes isn't the highest paid quarterback in the league, the Chiefs have him on a discount. And so when you look at that, you have then, potentially 7 or 8 seasons of Mahomes at a discount. Then the Chiefs can continue to collect talent around him. There's not going to be a situation here where, like the Legion of Boom in Seattle, they paid Russell Wilson and then they had to let everybody else go. This
Right.
situation, because of the length of the contract, it this is how dynasties are built. This is you have the best quarterback, the most talented quarterback on the planet, and now you're going to be able to retain talent around him and go sign free agents and continue to bring in guys that want to play with Mahomes because they know there's a good chance of going back to the Super Bowl.
And
It's
like you said, kind of Patrick Mahomes being at a discount in a couple of years, that really actually made me think of Tom Brady. Tom Brady took a
sure,
lot of pay cuts just
sure,
because he wanted to keep his team together.
yeah,
Um, and it worked out well for him. He wanted the best of the best around him as best he could, and he really never got that, but it helped. I can
yeah,
guarantee you, it helped keep people around him.
it absolutely did.
So that's what it reminds me of with this contract. Kind of like you saying, I never really thought about it that way, but I'm interested to see now of if it works out. Like you said, if he eventually does become more or less the you know fifth paid quarterback
Yeah,
in the league rather than the number one guy right like he is
and
right now. So that'll be
it,
interesting.
it's crazy to think that 45 million a year will be a discounted price, right? Like
Yeah,
it's
yeah, oh yeah,
wild. It's wild. But the NFL, man, this every year it's continue to get more, continue to get more. Russell Wilson, Carson Wentz right now, those guys are getting paid 35 a year, right? Obviously you'd much rather have Mahomes than those two guys. I mean, Russell Wilson's a good quarterback, don't get me wrong. But, you know, it's there's just so much there that works. And then because of the length of it, it's a perfect job by the front office. And when your front office is on point, your coaching staff is on point, when the talent on the field is on point, you can do silly things like ask Patrick Mahomes who he wants in the first round.
yeah.
And so they went out and they drafted Clyde Edwards-Helaire, man. I'm excited to see, what you think about a rookie running back coming in and just being a plug and play CMC role type of guy.
Yeah, I remember watching him play at LSU and being like, God, that guy is small,
He
but
is.
he is a little freight train. The dude is not afraid. He runs with his head down, runs downhill. I think he's a great addition to this team. I'm interested to see how well they use him. I don't think they need a workhorse style
I
running
don't think
back
so
like
either.
a lot of teams do. They do have, obviously, Patrick Mahomes was one of the most ridiculous quarterbacks in the league. So um, these guys can do it all. Mahomes doesn't get credit for how mobile he is a lot of times, just because he's always throwing no look passes. But this guy's always on the run. Not always on the run,
He's
but when
extending
he's
plays,
on the
yeah.
run, he's really dangerous.
He's good.
So if you got a running back as well that isn't afraid to put his head down and grind out some yardage, and we all know that helps in the run game. If people got to be worried about that running back position, Clyde's Edwards-helaire is going to be pretty insane because they've got to watch out for Tyreek Hill on the outside.
Yeah. And I would think that he's instantly going to be the best running back they've had since they had to let go of Kareem Hunt. This
Yeah,
guy can get it done on the ground, get it done in the air. He can run routes. He's got a kind of a funny little small frame. He's a small guy,
he
but
does.
he's great. He's a great football player.
He looks really small. That's all I can remember watching him at LSU. I was like, God, that dude is small, but he can run. Like he can run. He hits holes. He's not afraid. Like he looks great. He looks great in a football uniform. So I'm
Absolutely.
interested to see what he looks like
He
as
looks
a.
he looks great in the end zone, and hopefully, for Chiefs, he'll continue doing that. Let's talk about this defense for a minute. Tyrann Mathieu is a leader. They brought him in last year as a great pickup. Their defense slowly got better last year. I remember it started off kind of ugly, but man, by the time of the playoffs, I mean they were playing some good football, especially late in games. The 49ers in the Super Bowl as an example, they got a little bit of a lead, but the 49ers, man, they stopped the run game. The Chiefs were able to stop the 49ers from running the football, in the second half, and gave Patrick Mahomes as many opportunities as he needed to finally come back in the fourth quarter. And
If you
um,
put the ball in that dude's hands, he's most likely going to do something with it.
he'll
So
eventually get it done. So there's a player here. The Chiefs drafted a middle linebacker in the second round. I do want to talk about him for a second. His name is Willie Gay. This was a guy who was people talked about him as a top 5, top 10 talent, but had off the field issues. The last time we heard about a Chiefs guy with off the field issues, it was Tyreek Hill. And obviously, that dude has been insanely productive. For the most part, he's been clean off the field. I remember there was a situation a couple years ago with a kid, a broken arm, all that, whatever. Willie Gay, if he comes in and he can clean up the off the field stuff, I mean, this could be a legit addition, for a second round guy that could come in and be very productive for their defense right away.
yeah, I like the linebacker core. A lot of guys from Dallas. Damian Wilson, Anthony Hitchens. A
Anthony
lot of
Hitchens,
guys
yeah.
from Dallas.
Yeah.
So Jadarius Ward, didn't see much of him in Dallas, but I believe he's also from Dallas as well. So yeah, this defense is going to be pretty good. I'm interested to see how they look on that linebacker position. I don't think defense is going to be. They're going to be the same as they were. They didn't have a lot of changes, but I really like what Mahomes can do for this team and what Travis Kelce can do for this team.
Is it
So we'll see.
crazy? Is it crazy to think here that over the next 11 years, right? That's just Mahomes' current contract. Is it crazy
Right.
to think that the Chiefs could be in the Super Bowl the next, 6 or 7 of those 11 years? I'm not saying win 6 or 7. I'm just saying be in, 6 or 7. You look at the AFC, man. There aren't a lot of teams that are, that have that elite tag right now, and it's really just the Ravens. And so, it could be something where, the Ravens and the Chiefs are in the AFC Championship game year in and year out here for the next 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, and honestly, I would love that. I would not mind that at all. Lamar Jackson is a electric quarterback, and
For sure.
obviously Patrick Mahomes is as well. So I would love to see them battle that out every year,
Yeah,
every season
ballers
in
going at
the
it.
playoffs. So I wouldn't mind that at all. But we both know, and almost everybody on earth know that watches football and loves football, that Patrick Mahomes is an absolute stud. So this team is going to be great. I think Travis Kelce is going to continue to be great, and Tyreek Hill is probably going to continue to be great as long as he can keep those off-field issues off the field and away from his life. So we'll see. I like Sammy Watkins still holding it down out there. I think he gets a lot of looks because Tyreek Hill is such a over-the-top guy. Can basically breaks defenses. The guy, if you don't have someone hanging over the top, and even if you do have someone hanging over the top,
He'd probably
he's
still run
just
and by
gonna
you.
outrun.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's gonna outrun both of you.
Yeah.
So they're dangerous, man. Miko Hardman also as well. So they're gonna be another fantastic team next year to watch. and I'm interested to see if they
I
can
I do
repeat, man.
I do wonder if ego starts to play a bit of a thing here for the Chiefs. They're really good. They know they're really good, and I hope they don't forget
Yeah,
that they also have to put the work in. They do have a Super Bowl now, and now some guys are talking about going and getting 6 or 7 Super Bowls. Like you gotta win the second one first, and so
you
it's
gotta you gotta make it through the season first. The
this
NFL
is
is no
true.
joke. It's a
This is true.
battle every year, and things change in the NFL every year. Teams are always drafting to get better.
Yeah.
Um, that's obviously the goal here, and is to make it to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Trying to play February 1, and they if they get comfortable, someone's going to come out of the woodwork and slap them off the chin, and
And
they're
we
going to be
know
like,
we
"Oh
know
my!"
when we talked about the Ravens are only getting better.
I
They're
actually
adding pieces and so they're going to come into next season, hungry, and if they get another chance, to go deep in the playoffs and they get a chance at the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game, they're not backing down for a second. So,
Yeah,
the
I actually
Chiefs,
think the Titans kind of smacked them in the mouth, and they kind of were ended up on their heels in the playoffs a little bit, and they were like, "Whoa, like what is this? Like we haven't seen a team control the clock like this very
sure,
much."
sure.
And I think if I'm not mistaken, the Colts did it to them as well. They ran the ball on the Chiefs, and it kind of like was like, man, we've got to figure this out. They've got good coaching, so they did,
Sure.
but they're gonna have to worry about those teams that can keep them off the field. That's the biggest thing. That's the biggest counter to teams like this, how explosive these guys are. So, I'm interested to see what other NFL teams do to try to combat this. And obviously, the best way to do it is establish the run and keep the ball out of his hands. So there are some teams that are building like that, and there's other teams that are just saying, "Hey, we're going to fight fire with fire and
Yeah, that's
build
true.
speed." So,
That's true.
which brings me to let's go ahead and jump right into the Raiders, man. A lot of people talked about the Raiders. Raiders drafted exactly like they basically said, "Hey, you know, these guys look like they're mimicking the Chiefs. They're drafting speed." They drafted Henry Ruggs in their first round. Um, you've got Josh Jacobs at the running back position, who I think is actually better than what the Chiefs have.
Okay.
I think Josh Jacobs is better than Clyde's Edward-Helaire, but Clyde's Edward-Helaire doesn't have to be Josh Jacobs. Josh
That's true.
Jacobs has to be really good,
He has to be the
and he
guy. Yeah.
was, and he has to, he has been. They made quite a few additions in that tight end position. You've got Jason Witten,
How about
and you've
that,
also
Jason Witten, man?
yeah, we'll see. I think he's going to be a great run blocking tight end. He's definitely nowhere near the way he used to be. He's going to be that 5 yards and sit down and just hey toss me the ball, I'll catch it for 5 yards. He's going to continue doing what he does. But I really love Darren Waller. I love this guy. I actually picked him up in a fantasy league, and he went off. And I think I traded him away for pretty. I think I traded him away for quite a bit. But I really like Darren Waller. I think he'd be a great pass catcher for Derek Carr.
Hmm.
Um, we've also got Marcus Mariota on the back end. I'm interested to see what they do with these quarterbacks. Marcus Mariota struggled
He did.
in Tennessee, so we will see if he can kind of make a little bounce back and maybe develop under John Gruden, being the quarterback guy and all. But this team is drafting speed. This team is drafting to be Chiefs esque. They're not there yet. They're still building. I think they have a lot of more first rounds coming their way. So I think if they build right, they could become dangerous. But they're going to need I actually believe they're going to need a better quarterback than
Okay.
Derek Carr or
Okay.
Marcus Mariota. So we will
One
see.
one of the things I'm excited to see there, obviously everybody knows that John Gruden did the quarterback camp every year.
Yeah,
Marcus Mariota is a guy that he knows really well. He's gotten to work with him before. I would think that if I was John Gruden, I'm bringing Marcus Mariota in with a plan. You've seen this guy before, you've worked with him before. If Derek Carr struggles, Marcus Mariota at least can add athleticism to the quarterback position.
yeah,
So there could be a change there for sure at some point in the season.
yeah, definitely. I'm really interested in these receivers for them. If they can become speed guys and over the top and extremely explosive and they develop well, they're going to be great. This offensive line is pretty good. Richie Incognito, he's been in the news a little bit, but great left guard. Rodney Hudson as well is going to be a great up front for them. So I don't think they're going to be struggling anywhere in the offensive line area. But I think the receiver core as they develop, and are they going to be as explosive as they probably want Henry Ruggs to be? You know, they're expecting him to come in and be a over the top guy. So hopefully he can. If he can be, you know, this team could look really good. We will see. You know, they're in a new city, new stadium. If you haven't seen the new stadium, you guys should go check it out. It is unreal. They have like this giant, I don't even know what it is. It's a giant fountain. It looks awesome. So go check that out if you haven't looked at it. But let's move on to this defense. They just got Malik Collins from Dallas. Man, a lot of Cowboys out there. You know, this defense is going to be that really didn't change too much. They're going to continue to be who they are on defense. I'm interested to see what Paul Gunther is going to do for them. But I don't really have too much to say. I'm really curious about this quarterback position for this team.
For sure. For sure. All right, man. Well, let's go ahead and jump right into these Chargers real quick, man. The one of the two teams on Hard Knocks this season.
Yeah.
Talk to my Chargers fans for a second. Do not let Hard Knocks fool y'all. All right, Justin Herbert. It's literally Hard Knocks' job to make him look like a god, okay? And they're gonna do that because they want y'all to buy Hard Knocks. You know, Justin Herbert is you know, he's a guy who's got all the physical traits. You know, he's tall, he's fast, he's strong, he's got a big arm. You know, the football looks nice coming out of his hands. You know, people sitting there complimenting, you know, man, I like your balls, dude.
Yeah.
You know, this guy, you know, had serious question marks coming out. You know, I say this just as a college football fan. You know, Justin Herbert was a 4-year starter at Oregon. In what did he do in his 4 years? You know, who did he beat? You know, what award did he win? What playoff game did he get to? You know, what thing did he accomplish at Oregon? You know, as somebody who was a 4-year starter. I mean, it's just kind of, you know, it's surprising to hear about. You know, you go into his senior season, and you know this guy could be one of the highest draft picks. And me, as an avid college football fan, had never seen this guy play before because he's never been on a big stage and done it done it against anybody important. One of the scariest things I heard, you know, from scouting reports that I read or saw was that there were times during the season, you know, during his career, where the Oregon coaching staff, you know, took the game out of his hands because they were afraid of his decision making. You know, they didn't, you know, draw up plays that gave him reads to make downfield. You know, Oregon led college football in screen passes thrown, right? You know, they did everything they could to not let Justin Herbert negatively affect the game by forcing it into double coverage or, you know, making a bad read here, you know, turning the football over, yada yada yada. You know, I worry about the Chargers quarterback position because the next quarterback they have is Tyrod Taylor. And the last time we saw Tyrod Taylor, he was getting booed by Browns fans in the Jets stadium. They weren't even
Yeah.
at home. You know, and Baker Mayfield comes in off the bench and completes a 5-yard pass, and there was like a cheer of joy because he did a quarterback thing that Tyrod Taylor hadn't been able to do. And so you know, the Chargers have said, you know, all the right things about Tyrod Taylor. You know, they said, you know, he's the starter, he's the locker room guy, he's the leader. You know, the charisma and all that's there, and all that stuff's nice until he can't move the football down the field. You know, and so I'm worried about the Chargers. The Chargers have plenty of talent. You know, they still have, you know, one of the most talented defenses. If they can, you know, stop getting injured, they have, you know, plenty of talent on their team. I had
So,
a
brothers,
bit of a hot take for you right here.
go
Going a
for it.
bit of a Hail Mary.
All right.
The Chargers are going to realize pretty quickly into the season that they're in bad shape at quarterback. There's a guy on the Dolphins roster right now named Josh Rosen, who is the third quarterback there that the Dolphins don't need because they already have Tua, who's going to get it done for a long time. I would think that the Chargers are going to, before the trade deadline, try to save the season and make a swap for Josh Rosen.
Okay, that's
What do you think
interesting.
about that?
I actually don't really see them doing that. You know, I understand that HBO's job is to make Justin Herbert look good, but I really think that they're probably going to try to sit him all year, and they're just going to let Tyrod Taylor ride it out and just sit in the quarterback position, sit in that quarterback seat, and just kind of cruise. And they're going to see, hey, if we end up last place, we're going to see here, and then we're going to continue drafting. We're going to continue drafting high. I think their defense is great. I think they've got a lot of young guys on this defense that are elite, and they're going to bet on that, which is fine. Like, that's great. But I think they're still looking for. I think they're going to try to figure out that quarterback position with Justin Herbert. And if he's not the guy, they'll just be like, oh, you know what? We're just going to pick another guy at the top, and we'll see where he goes.
Okay.
I think they're, like you said, they're okay just about everywhere. They have a phenomenal defense that they can ride on, and obviously that'll help a young quarterback.
Sure.
But I really don't. I don't see them. I actually don't see Justin Herbert touching the field at all.
Okay.
I think Tyrod Taylor rides the helm, the king chair for this offense the whole way through, and
if that's true,
they just say, hey, yeah, because I mean, tanking is a strat in this league. People don't really say it much. They're like, oh, are they tanking? Do people really? Yeah, these guys tank. Belichick, we may see him tank this year. We'll see. But we'll see. Now, I think, they're okay if Justin Herbert doesn't turn out to be the person they want him to be. So I think they're going to be willing to ride on that and let Tyrod Taylor, and they're going to shoot for next year. They were comfortable with Phillip Rivers back there. You've got a guy that can produce, and I think they caught the injury bug last year. It was kind of sad to see them.
They always seem to do, yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of sad to see that happen. They got the injury bug, and they just kind of, they tried to battle and persevere, but man, it's hard when your core guys are out, and once a core guy bounces back, another core guy goes out, and you're like, God, man, we just can't catch a break.
Sure.
So
let's talk about this defense though. If they do stay healthy, they did take a middle linebacker in the second round that I really like, Kenneth Murray. Another Sooner. If you saw me, talk about CeeDee Lamb, I'm happy Kenneth Murray is no longer a Sooner. This guy is a great football player. He's big, he's athletic, sideline to sideline. They blitzed him a lot, at least versus Texas, and he had 3 sacks versus Texas. And this is a guy who's going to be a really good middle linebacker for them, and really is just going to be another guy on their defense. You have Joey Bosa, you have Melvin Ingram, you have Derwin James. Derwin James is one of those guys that got hurt last year. You're talking about, again, if
showed out last year.
Yeah, this is one of
the couple games that he played, he did show out, and it was really sad to see him go down. Sure. But like you said, I mean, this team has a lot of young elite talent that they could be unreal on defense. So Chris Harris Jr. leading that cornerback position, so we'll see.
Yeah, and they're really good, and that's why I think, me personally, they're not going to sit back and let Tyrod Taylor ruin their season. I think they'll make a move. I really like the idea of Josh Rosen getting a chance, somewhere. He's not going to be needed in Miami, and Miami could use more draft picks. So I think it works out good for both teams. I don't have much good things to say about Justin Herbert, other than he looks the part. I think
he's your prototype, typical quarterback. Absolutely. Tyrod Taylor's that I honestly think prototype typical second string quarterback. So we'll see. I think they're just gonna ride him and see what they do. But I'm interested to see if you're right or I'm right. We'll see how that goes.
Sure.
I do want to talk about Austin Ekeler. What do you think about him? I really liked him last year. He produced with Melvin Gordon, holding out for a bit of the season.
Yeah.
But what do you think about him?
So, what I think about Austin Ekeler, I think it plays right into the quarterback situation. I don't think he'll be near as productive because they won't have a threat to throw the football down the field.
Okay.
And I guess you could say the same thing about Keenan Allen too. While we're talking about offensive guys on this team, Keenan Allen wasn't happy with where he was rated on the top 100. Keenan, my man, it's not getting any better. You don't have a quarterback to throw you the ball this year. You're not going to be rated higher. It's going to be rough on offense. I really think so. Can Ekeler get it done on the ground? Sure, but he's going to be doing it against 8-man boxes the whole time because nobody's going to fear their vertical game at all.
And even if they do 8-man box and they do throw the ball, hopefully they can keep the ball out of the other team's hands because these guys, Tyrod Taylor, and Justin Herbert is a young rookie. So
Yeah,
I'm interested to see.
for sure.
Let's go ahead and move on into the Broncos, man. Um, First thing we've got to talk about is Jerry Jeudy being drafted. Jerry Jeudy was probably this draft was receiver stacked.
Stacked.
So everybody was very, very like, who do we take? Jerry Jeudy, CeeDee Lamb, who do we take? It was very interesting. They ended up taking Jerry Jeudy over CeeDee Lamb and what's his name? Henry Ruggs. So a lot of people were very, very intrigued by this pick. I actually really like this pick. He's more of a route runner type esque. You pair him up with Cortland Sutton, who I also think has done really well. The biggest question mark, obviously, is always this quarterback position. We talk about this a lot in the
With
NFL. This
every
quarterback
team, yeah. With every team.
means everything for in the NFL. It means everything. At the college level, you can run the ball, but does Drew Lock have the juice, man? We're trying to figure that out. Um, we've got to see if he's developed or not. They did make a big change. I think this run game will be a lot better with Melvin Gordon picking up the rock for them. But I love Philip Lindsay and that third down screen esque gadget guy kind of deal. I think he's going to be great there. If they can, turn this team into a run first team and help these young receivers and young quarterbacks out, it's going to be a great offense to watch and hopefully watch them develop. We got Noah Fant as well in that tight end position, also a very young guy. So I'm very interested to see what you think about this offense.
Yeah, I think they've added speed everywhere. And they're extremely athletic. I think if you're looking at who's a clone in this division to the Chiefs, I think this is it. Drew Lock is a guy with a cannon. And then they've got, the big body Cortland Sutton, but then both Jerry Jeudy and KJ Hamler can fly. Noah Fant's one of the most athletic tight ends in the league, and then they've got a running back in Melvin Gordon who, like you said, he can be the guy, he can be the workhorse. Philip Lindsay's, can definitely, play the role of being the receiving back now. And so this offense, if Drew Lock continues to, progress and move forward going into year two, because he didn't play much in year one, he only played at the back end of the season. I mean, this offense can be extremely explosive for sure.
Yeah, as long as Drew Lock can produce, this offense could be crazy. I love that they drafted Lloyd Cushenberry in the third round this year. To help stiffen up that front five for him. Hopefully that works out and he learns from these guys and becomes. We talked about this before. All you need is good. You don't need necessarily great up front in the NFL. As long as you can do good up front, you'll be okay in the NFL. And I think they have that up front, so we will definitely see. I do love the Broncos pass rush. I think that's going to be their biggest asset this year for this offense. This pass rush is ridiculous with Bradley Chubb and Von Miller. You've got a guy that can cover at the back end. They picked him up from Jacksonville, AJ Boye. These guys are going to be getting after the quarterback this year. That Vaughn has always done that. He's proved couple year in year out for past 2-3 years that he can do it. And having Bradley Chubb help him. If I'm not mistaken, Bradley Chubb got hurt last year, so he was kind of like on and off the field. He probably battled that injury more than we saw. But I'm very, very interested, and I think these guys could be the best pass rush duo in the league.
Right on.
Um,
So let's talk about, man, at the end of the year, who's taking this division.
I think at the end of the year, No, I'm just kidding. Obviously, the Chiefs take this. The Chiefs
I
have
guess
to.
the better question is who comes in second.
I would say that's definitely the better question because, like, number one is like, yeah, the Broncos. No, man, the Chiefs running again, man. They're gonna be a 12-4 team, 10+ win team at least.
Sure, sure.
Um, the number two spot is going to be interesting for this AFC West. Man, it's tough because a lot of teams drafted well this year. I think
Hmm.
a lot of these guys drafted well on offense. I'm gonna let you pick the second one. I want to see what you go, and I'll let you know who I
Sure,
pick.
sure. I'm gonna go Broncos. I think it's definitely gonna be close between the Broncos and the Raiders, but I like Drew Lock more than I like Derek Carr, and it's that simple for me. I think both of the teams around the quarterbacks are getting better. And then I just think Drew Brees is a step ahead of Derek Carr, and or Marcus Mariota if you throw him in the mix there. Drew Brees has a lot around him. I
Drew Lock.
love
Drew
Yeah,
Lock.
sorry, Drew Lock. I love when a team makes an effort to build around a young quarterback, and the Broncos are definitely doing that. And so they've
Are
given
you trying
him.
to say Drew Lock is going to be the next Drew Brees? You said Drew Brees. No, I'm just
He's
kidding.
got too big of an
Um,
arm to be Drew Brees.
that's well, okay. Drew Brees has a couple years on this guy,
That's true.
so I
That's
mean,
true. That's true.
my arm would dwindle out at 65 in the NFL. Kidding, but I think the number 2 spot for me has to go with the Broncos as well. I think this team has such a good pass rush. I think this defense can get them there. I think it actually kept them in a lot of games last year.
Hmm.
So we'll see. Hopefully, Drew Lock wasn't at the helm very long, so he kind of got the back end, got a little experience, got his feet wet. So I think the Broncos take this number 2 spot. I think the
Okay.
Raiders slide in at that number 3.
Okay. And then
Both
we're
guys. Let's talk about it. Both these teams. I mean, we think it's a little bit opposite. You think the Broncos drafted more like the Chiefs. I think the Raiders are trying to be more like the Chiefs as well.
okay.
Everybody's chasing the Chiefs. Everybody's chasing those
Sure.
Chiefs. They're,
Sure.
they're a fantastic team. So I'm interested to see which team can even be close to the Chiefs
Yeah.
this next year. With
Not
that youth everywhere. So
They're not going to be close. I do think the Raiders though they're trying to build a keep the football away from the Chiefs. I think what you see what they did with Josh Jacobs last year. And then drafting the speedster and Henry Ruggs is somebody who's going to kind of help um alleviate the box a little bit, right? He's going to give them a deep field threat or a down the field threat. Which just creates more space for Josh Jacobs. Ideally is what I would
yeah,
think they're doing there. But if you look at the Broncos, and they're pretty soon going to be a Legion of Zoom themselves, and they're going to be spreading it out. They're going to be lining up in the shotgun and slinging it all over the field.
see, I
Uh,
think the Raiders are going to do that. So I'm interested to see which one of us is right. That's the best
sure, yeah,
thing about man-to-man football right here. We get to bounce off each other and see what we got. So
sure.
I'm interested to see how that works. So I think that both puts us at Chargers
So
at number
where
4.
where are we at on the Chargers as far as this is a team without a quarterback, but with a really good defense, man? What does this look like? How many wins are they getting? What are we thinking?
If Tyrod Taylor runs the helm, about where they were last year, 5-11.
Okay.
I think they give Justin Herbert a shot week 4. However deep quarter through the season, they'll probably actually get worse.
Yeah.
So.
I look at a team that went 5-11 last year that had Philip Rivers. Now you don't have Philip Rivers. I don't see this team winning many games. If this is a team that could be 2-14, 3-13 type of thing. In the games they do win, they're going to be low scoring, like 7-6 type of wins. Because I don't know if they're going to be able to move the ball. So
Hey man, they kick field goals. You got it, man.
yeah,
All they got to do is get field goal
hey,
range.
they gotta move into field goal range first. So we'll see.
That's true.
We'll see how that
That's true.
works.
I'm interested to see, but I think we got that hammered out. We obviously know the Chiefs are going to repeat AFC West champions. Uh,
They
we
repeat
both
Super Bowl
got the Broncos.
champions. You want to call that?
No, not Super Bowl. Got to face Lamar. That's too
Hey,
risky.
there you go.
So we'll see. Maybe halfway through the season we'll make a little projection, but
There we go. There we
as
go.
of right now, I don't know if they're. I know they're good enough, but the NFL is a dog eat dog
And
world, and
especially
there
with
are
this
a
season
lot
and
of
Corona and all that, there's a lot going on
there's
this
a lot of
season. So
teams full of dogs. You've got to battle through Corona. They talked about it in Hard Knocks. They've got two. Anthony Lynn said it best. They've got two enemies this year. They've got their schedule and who they're facing week to week, and they've got to battle Corona. People are gonna fall out of this season just because someone catches Corona. I hope it doesn't happen because I don't want this NFL season to be put at risk. But it's being shown that Corona can happen in professional sports. We saw that with the Major League Baseball outbreak I believe another one happened. I'm not sure if it was a false positive or not, but another one happened pretty recently. So I'm hoping these players stay safe, and we'll see. But these NFL teams have a pretty rough look, and so that's why I can't really say. We've got to see which
Sure.
team handles it the best. So,
That's true. That's true.
guys, thank you for watching Man to Man Football. Please like, subscribe, comment down below. We love every bit of it. Let us know what you think. Ask us any questions you got. Uh, we plan to put the AFC out there in a podcast form as well as the NFC if you'd like to listen to it like that on the way to work, driving, whatever. But thank you guys for watching. We appreciate it.
Yeah, any comments, any critiques, we love it all. So appreciate y'all.
Thank you guys.